Programming languages. What is a programming language? A programming language is a formal language which is designed to communicate instruction to a computer system or a computing device. This serves as a means for humans to write, program, and develop software applications that can be executed by computers. So each programming language has its own syntax and set of rules that defines how the particular program has to be written. Now we go for the classification. The first one is low-level language. These languages are close to machine code, which has little or no abstraction from the computer hardware. The best example for low-level language is assembly language and machine languages. Next, high-level language. These languages are designed to be closer to human language, and it is with higher level of abstraction. They offer built-in functions, libraries, data structures, which simplifies the programming task. Example, Python, Java, C++, C#, Ruby, etc. Scripting languages. These languages are interpreted rather than compiled, and these are used to automate tasks and perform specific functions within a larger program. Example, Python, Perl, Ruby, JavaScript. Next is object-oriented language. These languages emphasize the concept of objects. These objects encapsulates both data and functions, and these functions operates on that particular data. Example, Java, C++, C#, and Python. Next, functional languages. These languages treat computation as the evaluation of mathematical functions, and it is completely mutable. It avoids changing state. Example, Haskell, Lisp, and Erlang. Domain-specific language. These languages are designed for specific domains or specific problem areas with specialized syntax and features which are tailored to those particular domains. Example, SQL for database management system, HTML, CSS for web development, and MATLAB for numerical computing. So the programming languages has different strengths and weaknesses. Developers choose the language based on their requirements. So learning in multiple languages makes the programmer solve the program effectively and choose whichever programming language needed for them to go with. Elements of programming language. The fundamental elements that is needed for programming languages, many. We'll see it. Variables. Variables are used to store and manipulate data during program execution. They have a name, type, and a value associated with them. Each and every programming language will have different rules for variable declaration, initialization, and scoping. Next, data types. Programming languages support different data types such as integer, float, character, string, boolean, array, and more and more and more. Data types define the kind of values that is to be stored and manipulated in variables. Operators. Operators perform operations on data. We have many types of operators: arithmetic, comparison, assignment, logical, etc. Control structures. Control structures allow programmers to control the flow in an execution. Common control structures that we come across is conditional, looping, and branching. When you go for conditional, it is if-else. When you go for looping, it is for while, and branching, it is go-to statements. Next, functions and procedures. Functions and procedures are reusable codes, blocks of codes that perform a specific task. They take input parameters, perform computations, and optionally return values. They return values whenever it is needed. Function and procedures facilitate modular and organized programming. Expressions. Expressions are combinations of variables, constants, operators, and function calls, which evaluates a value. They are used to perform calculations, make decisions, and manipulate the data. Statements. Statements are individual instructions or commands in a programming language. They perform specific actions, control all the program behavior. Example, variable assignment, function calls, control flow statements. Syntax. Syntax defines the rule and structure of a programming language. It specifies how the program should be written using the specific set of symbols, keywords, and rules. Syntax determines the correctness and readability of the code. Comments. Comments are used to add explanatory or descriptive texts within the code. They are ignored by the compiler or interpreter and serves as documentation for the programmer or reader of the code. So these comments will not be compiled and it is completely ignored by the compiler or interpreter. Libraries and modules. Libraries and modules are pre-written collection of code that provide additional functionality to a programming language. These libraries and modules contain reusable functions, classes, or other components which can be imported whenever needed and used up. So the program can extend their capability by including these libraries and modules. So different programming languages will have different syntax rules, and different programming languages will have additional features for their specific design and purpose. The next it is programming language theory. Programming language theory is a field of computer science that studies the design, analysis, and implementation of programming languages. This focuses on the understanding the principles, concepts, and foundations that underlie programming language and their use. Now, whenever we go for this programming language theory, it covers a broad range of topics. First, it is syntax and semantics. This area completely deals with the formal representation and interpretation of programming language constructs. It involves defining the syntax of the language, specifying the meaning of its constructs. Type systems. It defines and enforces the rules for assigning types of expressions and variables in a programming language. They ensure type safety and help catch errors at compile time. Programming language design and implementation. This aspect involves the process of creating new programming languages or extending existing ones. It explores language features, constructs, and paradigms and how they can be efficiently implemented. Programming language semantics. Semantic concerns the meaning and behavior of programs. It involves defining mathematical models or operational semantics to formally describe program execution and behavior. Programming language analysis. This area focuses on static and dynamic analysis of programs, including type checking, program verification, optimization techniques, and program understanding. Formal methods. Formal methods involve using mathematical techniques to analyze and prove properties of programs and programming languages. It aims to ensure correctness, safety, and reliability of the software system. Language paradigms. Programming language theory explores different programming paradigms such as procedural, object-oriented, functional, logic, and concurrent programming. It investigates the principles, strengths, and limitations of each paradigm. Language implementation technique. This aspect covers compiler design, interpretation, code generation, runtime system, and virtual machines. This investigates efficient strategies for executing programs written in various programming languages. Language expressiveness. Language expressiveness refers to the power and flexibility of a programming language in expressing different computations, algorithms, and abstractions. It explores the trade-offs between expressiveness and other factors such as performance and readability. Programming language theory provides the foundation for understanding and reasoning about programming languages. It helps in the development of new languages, designing better programming constructs, improving software quality, and building efficient and reliable software systems.